I'm Gabriel Flores, also known as the one, the only, maybe Lee. Thank you, YouTube, for joining me today in another episode that I have to offer for you guys. A little bit about the show. Finale's coming up in 18 days from today. So tomorrow will be day 17, and then 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. And will last 2 days. The finale does. And basically, the finale is like the mountain in my life and features a famous producer. We have a climax leading up to it, which the climax is like the culmination of all my secrets to this life. So it's kind of exciting, kind of intriguing, and mystical and stuff like that. And then boom, we get the finale, which is going to be cool. It's a little bit of dose of reality, and that's it. So each episode here lasts 17 minutes. I discuss two main points. First main point is about me, my information, and then I pair it with another main point, and if I need to, I'll do research. If not, then that's fine. But the morning before, I gather my thoughts and I come up with the game plan each morning before airing, and then at 4 o'clock each day I air the episode. So pretty basic. I want to talk about my hobbies. Right now I'm unemployed, so I have nothing but time to do hobbies, which is fine which is probably the highlight of me being unemployed right now. I would prefer to be employed because I have major responsibilities that I have. But unfortunately, due to a lot of extenuating circumstances, medical issues, health issues, mental health problems, along with geography issues, meaning that my residence from the first closest business is way too far to reasonably hold a position without a vehicle, which I don't have a vehicle, and even a bike is unreasonable because it's that far away. Even a fully functional person riding a bike to and from work every single day around here, it's too hard to do. So there's a lot of things holding me back from work. But even if I worked, I would still maintain my hobbies, which my hobbies are pretty simple. The last time I had a full-time job, I was writing poetry, and I even carved out some time during my busy schedule. And this was when I was in Salt Lake City, Utah. I didn't have a car there either. I had a bike, but I didn't have a car. And after work, I went home. I had to turn back around, get on the light rail, ride my bike to the light rail, get on the light rail, and then go to a spoken word poetry location where I performed spoken word poetry, my first spoken word poetry performance in front of a group of people inside of a coffee shop somewhere in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. And, the group I performed in front of, they were freaking professional artists. And me going up there, it was funny because me going up there, my stuff is completely amateur stuff. The writing is good, but I'm not a performer and I'm scared of performing. So for me, it was more like a dare. But, and somebody invited me to do it. So I did it, knowing that I can't perform, but I can write really good pieces. Every piece I've ever written has been a masterpiece. And, this piece was no different, but the performance, I think still was a solid performance, but I didn't land the stylistic things I wanted to land as good as they could have been. So, hobbies are something I want to keep around once I start working again. But it's hard because you have to find time for your hobbies, and stuff like that. And a hobby is good to add to your schedule because it's something that's not required. So work is required every single day and stuff like that. So when you counterbalance that with something that's not required, but still could be considered work further down the line on a different path and trajectory, but in your case it's not, is a good counterbalance for your life. And so, but how do you do that? Is it possible? It is possible, but you have to do it. Meaning that you have to figure out how it's going to be done if you want to be able to maintain a hobby. And so right now, being unemployed, it kind of sucks because I don't have money. I'm not a part of society. I am my responsibilities. Society don't care about my responsibilities. Nobody in the community cares about my responsibilities enough to reach out and give me a job, reach out and give me a lump sum of money. It's all up to me. And the responsibilities I have were my choice. But society as a whole, the minds of our time have a responsibility to make sure that the people that take on responsibilities are fully equipped to maintain those responsibilities. Otherwise, they're liable. They're the ones liable for any irresponsibility on my behalf, in my view, because I'm more than willing to work. I'm more than willing to provide to this civilization here in the United States of America. But the things that are going on around me are not allowing me to do that. So I'm actually being held back from working and stuff like that. But, despite all the negativity, I'm doing hobby stuff. Large reason for the hobbies is to maintain a work level so that, nobody can say, well, he couldn't have even worked then. No, yeah, I'm incapacitated here, and I have a lot of mental problems that I'm seeking help from, which the what do you call it? The Carl T. Hayden VA out here has been a huge help. But due to geography, again, getting to them is really hard. So all of that stuff is still, everything is on the back burner. My health, mental health, and all that stuff. And what was I saying? And all that stuff's on the back burner. But I'm working to try to figure out a way how I can get that corrected with the getting to the VA somehow. I don't know. Somehow getting a ride, something that's going to come straight to my house, to and from the VA, or have them come to me or something. I have to figure that out. And so with my hobbies right now are focus on maintaining that level of work, that I can actually work physically. But mostly it's for mental health, to help myself, not really to show anybody that I can help myself, but I have to help myself. Nobody else is helping me. It's the only thing I can do is actually write and among other things, to try to help myself. And so that's the main thing that can be said about my hobbies. I want to, at this point, I'd like to turn one of my hobbies into an actual job, because I don't want to waste, these interests of mine. And as of right now, I don't really have a field that I'm a part of. I'm not like a welder or a lawyer or anything. So I would much rather prefer one of my hobbies be a job of mine, and that's really the goal. But I'm gonna find a job that's whatever's closest is gonna be my first thing. Even if I get a car, because I'm still not gonna have a lot of money, and and all that, and insurance is gonna be expensive and blah blah blah. But so yeah, my kids are on my mind. My bills and stuff, my debtors are number one priority. I'm trying to get these things figured out. Some artists who are actors is the next topic. I just want to talk about that because it's kind of like the same thing for me. If I have a career and then I decide, well, I want to have a hobby too. That's kind of like what I'm talking about here, like an artist, a musician who branches out and does acting. It's kind of like a hobby for them, and you kind of wonder, well, how are they able to do that? Because I'm working a full-time career. He's putting out 2 albums a year. How is that being done? And so we want to get insight into how that's accomplished. How do you juggle? How do you actually apply a hobby to your lifestyle? How can you get that positive counterbalance to your life? And so I was hoping, by searching this, I'd get some information. But here's what I got from the webpage Ranker. The webpage entitled 70 Plus Musicians Who Became Famous Actors. Ranker Music created the webpage. The webpage address is m.ranker.com. And the top 4, number 1, Beyonce Knowles. 2, Mark Wahlberg. 3, Dolly Parton. And 4, Justin Timberlake. The webpage is a huge list of other musicians who became actors. A lot of them I knew, some of them I didn't. Of the list I just mentioned, the oldest on that list is Dolly Parton. She's, of course, she's the oldest on that list. But she's a musician who turned an actor, and she's the oldest one on that list. And then you have, Beyonce. She's from Houston, Texas. Mark Wahlberg is from Boston, Massachusetts. Dolly Parton's from Tennessee, from somewhere in Tennessee, and so is Justin Timberlake. He's from Tennessee, so 2 Tennessee cats. 2 Tennessee cats, 1 really old person, Dolly Parton, on that top 4 list I gave you. If you're interested in how do you get one of these counterbalances in your life, research one of these guys and you'll get some really good information, because if you look at Dolly Parton, she's not just an actor, she is multi-talented. She's an entrepreneur also. So, I would highly recommend this to a career cat of modern times, because I really think a hobby is actually critical to your life. And it's almost like a required piece, but it's not required. But it is required because it's going to add a counterbalance to your career. And the webpage has links to Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and an email service. I don't know what email service it was. It didn't have the logo on it. For being a mobile webpage, which is part of the m.ranker.com, that's what the M is. I would have expected more links down there at the bottom for sharing on different services. There's myriad web internet places that you could share that type of list to. So that was kind of a downside to the web page. Another downside was it's hard to use even the links that are there because it keeps loading. It's at the bottom, and the bottom of the page keeps loading until you get to the very, very bottom, and then it stays still, and then you can access those links easily. So that's hit number 2 on the mobile aspect of it. But as far as the content, it was useful for me. It's a list for a quick overview, for a start and stuff like that, for the point that I'm delivering. But to further advance that, guys, go check out one of their books. I would recommend Dolly Parton. I would recommend purchasing her book, um, just because she's the oldest. That it only makes sense, and even just listening to her and emulating her is going to be enough. Just because she's a powerful person in our modern life. And then uh, what was the other thing? Oh, okay, the other thing. And so for me, my official thing is a hobby is something you work at. For example, my hobbies are writing raps, sketching, repetition, diary writing, collecting music, and when I see something that I've seen somewhere else I like, to remember the facts and try and gather the higher message from it. Um, so that's all I have for today, guys. Just discussing my hobbies, my ideas about hobbies, along with a list of actors who fit the bill for inspiration and career advice and stuff like that. So take it easy. We'll see you guys next time.